It's a Guy Jeans podcast.
This episode is brought to you by goldco.com. Go to goldco.com/guy to check it out and receive a great deal. Go to goldco.com/guy.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for listening to the podcast. It's doing really good, and I just started a new YouTube channel. So it's the Guy Jeans podcast YouTube channel. It's just the podcast videos on there, so you guys check that out. Links will be in the description, that sort of thing. And again, if you guys are listening on iTunes or Spotify or anything like that, please write a review and definitely subscribe to the new YouTube channel. It's going to help it grow even more. So that's much appreciated, you guys. My guest today is Toni Isreal, and she is a mover and shaker in the New York Broadway scene. She does a lot of production for film, television, theater. She does marketing. She's a creative consultant and a producer for Broadway musicals and other entertainment avenues. And I talked to her about how she got started and what she does in the industry, and give some advice for young entrepreneurs coming up and that sort of thing. So it fits my podcast perfectly. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. This is coming from a lady who is really experienced and knowledgeable about the entertainment industry. So without further ado, here is Toni Isreal. I'm doing really good. It sounds like you're in a pretty busy place there.
It's just a tad bit busy, so this gives you any inkling of my schedule in New York City, Broadway.
Yeah.
And happy to be on your podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. My podcast is about folks that are very similar to you, who have started their careers and followed their passion and have done well for themselves. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah, right?
Yeah, work in progress, yes.
For sure. But I'd like to find out, how you got started, and if you could let my listeners know, kind of what you do and who you are.
Okay. So the name is Toni Isreal. I am founder and CEO of a company named REALEMN. So nice. As in fishing, we reel them in, and it's spelled REALEM, and then the letter N.
Okay.
So it's, I always say, ebonically speaking, REALEMN. So it's REALEMN Productions, and we do theater, Broadway, primarily off-Broadway, cultural institutions, film, television. So we're a multifaceted company. We partner with other entities, other organizations, to really, depending on the niche that the show needs us for. And right now we're currently working on HADESTOWN Broadway tour and London. We're also working on MJ the Musical Broadway. We're doing some stuff with tour, but not so much. So I'm just going to say MJ the Musical Broadway. And then also, let me see, what else do we have? Oh, we have 44 the Musical that will be in LA showcase. That's based on a unsanctioned, unauthorized, unofficial 44 the Musical based on Obama the President. It's a parody, which is absolutely hilarious. That's going to be running on the 19th and 20th at the Bourbon Room in LA, right there on Hollywood Boulevard. We also have some other productions that we're working with. Kindred Family Soul, which is a R&B music group. Oh, I'm trying to think, what else are we working on? Oh my goodness, I really can't think right now, but it'll come to me.
When you say you're working on, what does that mean? Are you doing the production? Are you doing the marketing? What is it that you're doing?
Okay, so the lovely thing about REALEMN Productions, we can work on the show or production in different capacities. So we can do marketing, we can do partnerships, we can do press, we can do audience development, which we're kind of moving away from marketing and audience development and moving into producing. So we have some producing credits, which is Secret Garden, that played in LA. So we do a lot of work in LA. And then we have credits on HADESTOWN tour in London. And then we're also doing a raise for, so we mean by raise, coming in as a co-pro for Soul Train that's coming to Broadway either the end of this year or early 2025. And then we have some other raises out there.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on, and
yeah, just a little bit.
when I'm looking at your guys' website,
okay,
and I'm checking things out and stuff, it seems like there's all these things going on. And when you say when you guys are producing or something like that, what does that mean? Like when you're producing a show?
So usually for us or for myself, that would be a co-producing entity.
Uh-huh.
So with a co-producing credit, meaning that you're going to raise money for the production.
Ah.
So depending on how much you want to come in with your co-pro agreement with the producers, you can become a co-pro depending on what the unit is.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So let's just say co-producing meaning you're raising money for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So you have raised money for the show.
So you guys kind of negotiate all that kind of stuff and try to get money for these shows, and how does that all work? Like you have people that want to sponsor it, kind of a thing?
Well, people that want to invest in it, and I will say this, we don't set the terms, the producers set the terms for us. So they will reach out to us and go, hey, Tony, we would love for you to raise for this show, or you express interest in shows that you want to raise for. And like I said, HADESTOWN. HADESTOWN on Broadway. HADESTOWN has been on Broadway. It's coming up on its 5th year. It's actually just announced that it is I think it's the 73rd or 78th longest running show on Broadway.
Wow.
Which is a beautiful feat. Shows don't run on Broadway for, years, and it's coming up on its 5th year anniversary.
Wow.
Same thing with MJ the Musical. MJ the Musical is coming up on its 3rd year anniversary. Wow. And that's longevity for Broadway, because, shows come in, go out. We don't have a formula on what's going to hit and, what's going to stick, what resonates with the audience and, sticks around for a while.
Yeah.
And recoup. So when we say recoup, meaning that they make their money back.
Sure.
Or they turn a profit on a show.
So as a little girl and that sort of thing, did you dream or did you think that you were going to become what you are now, or how does that all play out?
No, it's so funny. I did a panel today with the Broadway League, and that was one of the questions. Like, how did you come to be a part of Broadway?
Right.
So my story is very unique, and most people have a very unique story and how they came into Broadway. Some people know they want to work on Broadway, but for myself, I didn't come the traditional route. I come through biopharmaceutical accounting.
Oh, wow.
So I worked in big pharma, and I worked for a company called Metarex, and it was getting ready to be sold by a company that brought us, which was Squibb, Bristol Myers Squibb. And I've always had aspirations of working in New York. I'm from New Jersey. And long story short, I was always involved. My mom brought me to my first Broadway show when I was probably like 8-10 years old. I really got to play that back in my head to really get my age, but I was young. And it left an impressionable, part of my life. I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic, even as a kid. So I always tell a story. That's when Broadway chose me. I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
Went to school, but I went to school for business administration and finance. Never knew that Broadway would be in my future. But my friends will tell you that I've always wanted to work in New York. There was just something about that aura of New York, that energy of New York. Loved it. I was just like, I need to work here because that's where I am. And a lot of my friends saw this Broadway or entertainment in my future, but I didn't see it. I was like, okay, whatever. We used to run bus trips to New York on different Broadway shows. I worked in my church, and we did different things, entertainment-wise, and brought people to Broadway. So I would say that was my foundation. Yeah. And it wasn't until McCarter Theater in Princeton, New Jersey, because again, I told you I worked in Big Pharma, which was in Princeton, New Jersey. Was friends with Dan Bauer. He was a PR agent at McCarter Theater. Him and I became friends because he wanted to come to my church to promote a show. Him and I became friends. I was back and forth with McCarter Theater, and this is the abbreviated portion. And met some wonderful people there, which is Emily Mann, who was the artistic director. She was the former artistic director, or artistic director emeritus. And then Myra Isaacs, who was her second in charge. And they really did, I would say, take me under their wing, or took me under their wing. And I was at McCarter Theater a lot. And I was learning, and I was working in my church, so I was learning. And Myra Isaacs was really instrumental going, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, but I know I want to work in New York. And she introduced me to somebody who then said, you should go to this cast, because I always believe that schooling is something that you should learn about your craft. And at that time, it was a institute called Commercial Theater Institute that taught you about Broadway. So I took the class. They recommended me for the class. I took it. I met my now forever mentor, Donna Walker-Hughes, who did marketing. And I was like, oh my God, that was my Oprah Winfrey aha moment. That's what I do. I came up to her, introduced myself, and she offered me an internship.
Wow.
And Donna, so I went from Myra Isaac as my first mentor to Donna Walker-Hughes as my second mentor. And they taught me the business of marketing, which then progressed into my own company, that then progressed into producing on Broadway.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
how I got here.
Wow. So when you went in from going from basically your mentors and then starting your own company, were you nervous about that? Because that's a big deal.
I will say this, because I come from a financial background, and the bus trips I used to run and still do, I knew I had to open up an LLC because I needed a place to put the money.
Yeah.
So again, my financial background helped in forming the company, because I'm like, I can't take thousands of dollars and put it in my own checking account or savings account, because we were doing big bus trips. We weren't just doing a bus. There were some bus trips we did 4 buses, then came back and did 2 more. So that is, if you put the math, if the tickets are $1,000, $100, and the bus is 55 passenger, 55 times 100 times 4.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dollars coming in. So
awesome.
I learned how to do that, because numbers came very easy to me. And I do credit my church, Shiloh Baptist Church in Trenton, New Jersey, because I'm, again, from New Jersey. And I started the LLC. I didn't know it would be this, but, I am spiritual. I am a God-fearing person, and I say what God has for you is for you.
Yeah.
And we started REALEMN Productions, and REALEMN Productions is based off my last name.
Yeah.
So my married name is Isreal, so we took the real. And then my husband loved to fish, so we said REALEMN.
No way.
So reel them in, reel them in.
I love it.
It's a metaphor for reeling in folks to your business, reeling in folks to your bus trip, and then it also has a double meaning, because it's a film reel that we have in the middle, because I've always had aspirations to go into TV and film.
Yeah. Oh,
So I
love
do
it.
that right on with the logo and everything. Your logo should tell a story of what your company is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
What a great
there we go.
story, isn't it? Isn't it interesting how people's lives and paths take as they go through life? I love it. I love your story.
Yeah.
Have you had any speed bumps or anything like that as you've been doing your business?
Oh, always. I mean, I feel in any business, you're going to have speed bumps for sure. It is not all accolades and, bonbons and going, this worked.
Yeah.
And no, there's absolutely, it's learning curves for sure.
For sure.
And you got to be able to, you have to be able to pivot on a dime. I've learned that. And that's why I love my path that I went. I didn't come straight from school, straight to Broadway. The accounting part helped. It helped me to do a budget. It helped me to, balance a team. It helped in so many ways, so if I didn't have that background coming into a business, taxes and, my accountant and, we're running a small business. So you need all of that, to do something. So bumps and bruises. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. There's some shows that work. There's some shows that open and close. There's shows that, I hate to say it, skip you for money. It shows that contracts are broken.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. There's stuff that's good and bad.
Sometimes when when you go to the opening night of some, show, do you just go, oh my gosh, this is not going to make it? or
No.
you just never
I
know?
haven't. You just never know.
Yeah.
I mean, the opening nights are parties. I mean, those are just so fun.
Uh-huh.
And when you're working the show, you get a chance to work with celebrities. You're working the press line. You're getting people on the red carpet. You're trying to walk the red carpet. There's different aspects to this. And that's a party for Broadway.
Yeah.
And with Broadway, Broadway has been around for, centuries. And, you get to learn a little bit of everything in it. The more and more you're involved in it, you learn more. And I always promised myself that I wouldn't become complacent with coming into this field. And I'm trying to do myself due justice and always learning. So I'm now a member of the Broadway League. Shout out to TISG, which is the industry standard group. And a lot of us became Broadway League Fellows for 2 years. And then we became, associate members. And a couple of us are, I don't know the correct term, but are full members. Yeah, that's the word. They're full members and actually on the board. So, we surround ourselves with some great people. So, yeah, always learning, learning.
I bet it's really cool, too, like seeing the audience reaction to a show the first time, too. Like, I mean, it must be amazing for the directors and the producers. I'm like, oh, my gosh, they're loving it,
Yeah, it is. Just to see an audience relax, and even us, when we see a show for the first time, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. But Broadway is unpredictable. You don't know if the show's going to open. When it opens, you don't know how fast it's going to close. You're hoping.
Yeah,
you're hoping.
Hey,
it's just like a film. Just like a film.
What's a essential workers campaign that you did?
Oh, the essential workers campaign. So, we all experienced COVID.
Yeah.
We're still in a pandemic, I guess. I guess to say we're officially out of the pandemic, but after 2020, George Floyd, after all that, the reckoning of the world started to happen, and when COVID, came in and we saw George Floyd, all the people who lost their lives, and really, being that the world has shut down, people saw it in full effect. Right in front of our eyes, things were staring. I always say, if you came out of 2020, if you didn't come out differently, I'm going to look at you a little sideways, because we had a chance to reflect on a lot of stuff in 2020, things that was going right and things that were going wrong.
Sure.
So, in that time frame, we had COVID. People lost their lives. Yeah. The world shut down. Essential workers. The doctors, the nurses, the firemen, the policemen, the ambulance workers, the sanitation workers, those people who kept America going.
Yeah. When
we were all in our homes, those were our essential workers. So what we did when Broadway came back in 21, we wanted to salute them. We wanted to say thank you to them. So we offered them a ticket to see a Broadway show.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just going to say the shows that we worked on. So HADESTOWN was the first one to get on board with that. And so a shout out to HADESTOWN Broadway. We have some phenomenal producers in HADESTOWN, which is Myra, which is Tom, which is Dale, and then also Hunter. Those four producers allowed us to take that essential workers campaign, meaning that we researched and got those workers and said thank you to them, meaning that when they saw the show, they came to the show free. And the cast and the rest of the audience gave them a standing ovation to say thank you for doing what you did for us. So that was the Essential Workers campaign. That worked so effectively that other shows wanted us to do that for them.
Nice.
So it became an Essential Workers campaign where we saluted those workers just to say thank you.
So cool.
Yeah, so it was really nice. We were really, that was a proud moment for us and for a lot of shows. So I'm not going to just take the full, that was our team and then other shows as well who wanted to say thank you to those essential workers.
Just looking at the news and stuff like that, it just seemed like New York was just hammered by COVID. I mean, it just looks so devastating, and you were right there, weren't you?
Well, one, I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
I work in New York, but I also have an office and apartment here in New York, so which allows me to stay here and not do the back and forth.
Yeah.
But to see New York, as the hustle and bustle here,
Yeah.
to see the streets empty, it was eerie.
Wow.
I never thought I would see that in my lifetime. When you go outside and literally, because I'm right now in Times Square, so I'm right on West 48th Street. So I'm literally right across from HADESTOWN, Walter Kerr Theater. And I'm taking this call because I was moving around New York. So I said, okay, let me go just pop my head in the restaurant and to take the call with you. But when I say there was no cars, and you never thought you would see New York, even in nighttime, wee hours of the morning, it was no cars. It was no people. Everybody wearing a face mask. Only people you saw out there. My nephew and I took a ride up here just to see it, because you had to see it for yourself. TV just didn't pay it justice. You only saw the people who were delivering food, and the naked cowboy was out there. I don't know why the hell he was out there, but there was the naked cowboy out there in his guitar, and you were like, he's not playing for nobody, but he was out there. We have pictures, and I'm just like, okay, this is crazy, and everybody had their face mask on, and it was just eerie. It just looked like the end of the world. It was just weird.
The first time I ever saw that naked cowboy was on YouTube just the other night. That's why I was laughing.
He is very real. Yes,
that is hilarious.
Naked cowboy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, if for somebody that's coming up, that's young and wanting to get into the business like you, what do they need to do?
Okay, so it's depending on what capacity they wanted to get into business, and we welcome people to the Broadway world. So if you can give me an example of what you're thinking of people coming to the Broadway, are you thinking of a high schooler or a college kid?
Yeah,
somebody
somebody that's like interested in doing something like what you're doing and, getting into the business kind of like that. What kind of advice could you give them?
Well, one, I will say, do your homework. I would say for myself, what I did, shows that I went to, I read the playbill. The playbill is a plethora of knowledge just in that playbill. It gives you investors, co-producers, directors, cast. It gives you all of that. It's like the Bible, Broadway. People collect them. I have a lot of playbills. And you get to learn who the players are. People read the playbill to learn more about the cast members. You read the playbill to learn who the producers are, who the co-producers are, who the investors are. It is a wealth of knowledge. So that's one. I would start there. And then depending on what they wanted to get into, if they wanted to get into marketing, one, take a marketing class, or do it hands-on. Do marketing in something in your school. Learn public speaking, learn how to develop an audience. You develop an audience and get people to come to a show with you. Do little things that kind of give you that, I'll say confidence to get into this. But, schooling is very, very important. Mentors are always very good. I always stress to young folks, get a mentor. Have somebody that you see what they do and you like it, and then maybe you can shadow them. And that's a wealth of knowledge right there. But take some courses. Take some courses. So
do you do public speaking as well?
I learned public speaking just by speaking.
What's that?
And it's just really confidence. It's depending on. I know I could talk about marketing anytime, any day. But I will say this, with the Industry Standard Group, which I am a proud co-founder of, so again, shout out to them. There's 7 other phenomenal co-producers, and they are phenomenal. They are the ones who are really speaking about TISG and what we have. And what it is 8 BIPOC producers on Broadway. And we're about representation, disruption, because most of producers on Broadway are white. You don't see many people of color, I am a Black woman, that is in the room when we're having these marketing meetings or a part of the producing team, because you have to have a good amount of money to produce on Broadway, for a musical, for a play, it's different buy-ins, and it's not, we do welcome the $5,000, but, we're looking for people with $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, $1 million, it's big money, that's in that. So we want people, and this is, after George Floyd, when, all the entertainment industries were shaken up, Broadway was another entity that got shaken up. And, people like the TISG, TPOC, which is Theater Producers of Color, a lot of acronyms, BTC, Black Theater Coalition, Black Theater United, BTU. So there's a lot of acronyms that came up to give people of color voices in this space.
I see.
And we're now all working together to get more people of color involved in Broadway, not just on stage, but behind the scenes as well.
Interesting. And you also worked at the Apollo Theater.
Yes, Apollo Theater is my family. Will always be my family. I love Apollo Theater. That is a cultural institution, mecca of the world. Amateur night. Hey, before Idol. Yeah. Before all the other shows, it was amateur night on. Night.
I mean, they let people know if you're not very good or if you're good, right?
Yeah, I mean, amateur night is a staple. So please visit apollotheater.org. Amateur night will come back in February for their new season in 24.
Oh, nice.
It's every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. It's an inexpensive ticket to have a really good time.
Oh my God.
So yes, I am definitely blessed to work on or work with a lot of different cultural institutions, Broadway shows, some fantastic people, in Broadway, off Broadway, definitely want to get more involved with producing opportunities, film, television. Yeah, we're trying to do some stuff.
That's awesome. Well, Toni, thank you so much for being on my podcast. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
And that's what my podcast is about, is folks like you are hustling, getting things done,
Oh, yeah. That hustle is real. That hustle is real. And if anybody on your podcast want to learn more about producing on Broadway or have an interest in investing on Broadway, send them my end address or my cell phone number. I would love to talk to them more. There's some fantastic shows productions that are coming in the end of 24, 25, and even some that's coming in spring that we're still raising for.
I'm going to put all your information in the description.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And so all the people have all that information for sure. So
okay.
Hey, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. With everything going on in the world today, right now could be the best time ever to diversify your retirement savings with precious metals like gold and silver. I just bought some precious metals myself, and I got them from the top-rated company, Goldco. They couldn't have made the process easier, and their customer service was impeccable. Goldco has helped thousands of people just like you and me place over $2.5 billion in gold and silver. They're rated A+ by Better Business Bureau. They've earned over 5,000 5-star reviews. They're a 7-time Incorporated 5,000 winner, and that's just mentioning a few of their accomplishments. There's plenty more. Right now, for my listeners, they're offering up to $10,000 in bonus silver. You heard that right, up to $10,000 in bonus silver, but only while supplies last. Go to goldco.com/guy to learn more. That's goldco.com/guy. Diversify your savings with gold and silver today at goldco.com/guy.
It's a Guy Jeans podcast.